Hey, welcome back, everybody. And, it's pretty funny because we've had this question asked gobs and gobs and gobs of times. And so I thought it would be best just we'll include that in today's show when we talk about our real estate market here, going through our 7-day running average, mortgage rates, and whatnot. But the big question has been, can Trump actually force rates to go down? Can they? What do you guys think? Let's find out. All right. So the funny thing is that there's a lot of folks that are saying, oh my gosh, rates are going to drop. He's going to drop rates 2.5%. And of course, I start laughing because I'm like, folks, wait a second. You understand he's talking about the Fed rate, right? And the Fed rate, as we all know, because you guys are super smart, do not control long-term mortgages. So to answer your question clearly and concisely, the answer is yes, you guessed it, no. But they can indirectly affect the actual rate itself. And you can see by these two charts, when Trump came in on his first presidency, and you can see how mortgage rates and the Fed rate affect. And then, of course, during his, when you take a look at the actual timeline in which he was there, and mortgage rates actually went down. So remember, right, that the Feds, they control your HELOCs, they control your credit card payments, when you buy a car, what that interest rate is. But more importantly, they affect on the commercial side what banks lend to on a daily basis. Okay, that's what the Fed controls. They do not control. They can affect, but they do not control long-term mortgage rates. And as you can see here, when we talk about since September, and let me blow this chart up because it's super important to understand. Every time the Feds this year have actually reduced rate, as you see from the bottom side, and that says September. It's hard to, write with your mouse. But anyway, that says September, and you can see that rates actually dropped. Whereas mortgage rates since September, they actually went up. And in fact, right, so mortgage rates are up 1% despite the Feds having cut rates by 0.75% since September. And that's super important for everybody to understand. The two are not related, but affect each other. Now, this coming Wednesday, for those of you that are on the fence about locking, or you're on the fence about, hey, I'm about ready to tie up a home, I need to have a purchase and sale agreement so I can lock my rate. Okay, this Wednesday is going to be a pretty important timeline because the Feds are going to discuss if they're going to drop rate again. And I keep telling everybody, don't drop the rate. And people are like, no, we need the rate drop. We need the rate drop. And it's like, no, you don't understand. It has had an inverse effect every single time. We've got inflation numbers. We got CPI numbers coming out here shortly. And again, this coming Wednesday, the Feds are going to meet. So even though we don't expect the Feds to do a whole lot, it's that after meeting because, as I tell my team member, the words you choose are directly proportional to your paycheck. So do the words that the Fed chooses to spit out will have a massive impact on what the industry does with the bonds and whatnot, which affect mortgage rates, which again are controlled by the stock market. And most people are like, really? The mortgage rates are affected by the stock market? And yeah, they're controlled by the bonds and mortgage-backed securities. That's how they adjust rate and they set standards. Anyway, moving on. So as we take a look at our headlines for this coming week, so we have existing home sales inch up to highest level since February. That's absolutely accurate. You're going to see some of our numbers actually boiling through here. Highest purchase applications in a year. Okay, technically, yes, even though, as you can tell, the par pricing today, 7.11, which was even down 0.01 since Friday. Here's the thing. Our market is still suffering from an inventory issue. We still have just roughly about half a month's inventory, or half the inventory we should. We have about 2 months of inventory-ish. It's been climbing ever so slightly, but not in big shakes and bounds. In fact, when we take a look at, I'm going to advance a slide here. Here we go. I'm going to pull this one up. So even when we take a look at what's going on with the 7-day running average, in fact, let's blow that up one more. Listen, on Wednesday it was 578 came on market, 922 had gone off market. Here, this is a snapshot today, 721 average, 7-day running average. Look, we're still 850 homes that went off. So we're still seeing more homes, approximately 129 homes, go off market versus what came on market on Friday. Friday is our biggest list day. Heck, we contribute to the Friday, go on market with a couple of our clients. And that is a normal thing. If I take a look at it on Wednesday, Wednesday's normally our lowest time of the week as far as homes coming on market as we kind of run through that 7-day average. But Friday's more realistic. That's why we do a Saturday show, so it gives you guys a consistent metric of what you're looking at. Now, when we come back, and if we scroll back and take a look at this one, let's blow that back up again. Listen, funny enough, well-priced homes are still going off the market in 7 to 10 days. Okay? The buyers in our market, are super smart, just like you guys are, okay? They know what a good value is and what is an overinflated value. And guess what, sellers? Buyers have zero interest in overinflated homes. Zero. I don't care if you have what we call emotional equity or sentimental equity of, I've lived in this home. We raised our family here. We've done these really beautiful things. And look at all the great memories that we have. They don't have that. Okay. And in fact, they have less than that. And then this is probably going the other way, less than that. But here's the thing. Sentimental equity, or what you perceive is a good value, doesn't matter. You see, as a seller, you are a taker of the market. As a buyer, buyers are the makers of the market. And you might say, well, what the heck does that mean? Look, if you go into a grocery store and there are no buyers, there's nothing that is going to be sold, and regardless of what price is in there. However, if you have buyers in there, they're going to establish on certain prices and certain products what is a good value and what is not. That's why stores rotate. That's why their shelves have value, whether it's at eye level, below eye level, above eye level. Those ones in that middle score here, those are going to get the greatest amount of eyeballs. That's also the ones that they normally have the greatest value, okay? Meaning that what they get the best return on, because they want you to see it first. Lower level, better pricing, but people have to look more, look harder, look differently than when they're there. It's no different here. So keep that in mind as you're establishing price, because that is why if we blow this back up again, you can see that we had, what the heck is that? We had 34 that actually expired, and we had 51 listings that actually canceled. And so again, message to the sellers. Why am I being so hard on the sellers today? Listen, this is coming into the spring market. You're already seeing that we've got a nice level of inventory coming in, seasonally normal. It will ramp up here in about February, and then the numbers are really going to start changing. Builders are starting to ramp up. We're starting to see, as you will see later on in our metrics here, they're actually doing a pretty darn good job of getting information out to sellers as far as their values, okay? So when we talk about the metrics, we talk about what's going on. Let's talk a little bit about average market list price versus average sold price. Look at that. So on this chart already, let's blow this one up for you. Listen, when we take a look at the same year to date, 2025 over 2024, Hey, our prices are up 9.7%. We're at 824,000 average sales price, and average sold price is 751. Actually, last week it was 9%. However, when we take a look at the average list price, it's 950,000. It's about on target. It's about where it was. So when we take a look at the chart below, we take a look at January versus December, 2 months that are very similar to each other in a lot of respects. We've got, again, a very equal amount of price increase for active price and average sold price of 1.4% just for the same month of January. And as you can see, the average sales price and list price is super close, very much where we were at. Now, if we take a look at actual sales volume, okay, this is kind of where the tire hits the pavement, okay? So when we take a look at this, and this is super important. Listen, when we talk about sold properties, that's a review mirror. Okay, that's what happened the prior months. When we look at this, and you might say, George, why are you showing me December? Because understanding December numbers, which December and January are very similar in a lot of respects. Excuse me. You'll also see that when we compare actual pricing and sales and numbers, we'll start to see how that ramps up, how those 2 months are the same, but then what to expect seasonally. So when we open this back up again, and we know that when we take a look at December sales, we're actually talking about November pended. And remember, the pended sales in November were really well. And that translates over to here on some of our existing. When we take a look at the actual year to date, is actually up 10.4%. But when we take a look at the solds in December, which were November pended, right, we can see that actually our numbers are down. But yet for the month of January, the actual number of pended homes, a dynamic number, okay, is actually up almost 25%. It's 24.1%. That's a pretty good number as we see things starting to escalate and starting to pick up momentum. Listen, some folks are freaked out about interest rates. Don't be. Where we're at right now is situation normal. Anywhere between 6 3/4, 7 1/4, anywhere in there is historically normal. That is a good, healthy market. No, it is so funny. I was just chatting with someone and said, George, I have a 2.8% mortgage. Yeah. Well, how long do I have to wait to get that again? When hell freezes over. They're like, what? I said, listen, that was artificially brought down. The feds brought that down. They bought down the rate. All of the United States, how did they do it? They did it by buying all of the mortgage-backed securities and creating scarcity, which improved the bonds. The bond values went up. And then, we saw the interest rates come down because the feds were buying it all. But then when they said, hey, we're at $3 trillion, we can't do this anymore. We have to now stop buying mortgage-backed securities and actually sell off some of our mortgage-backed securities. So that went from being in the Sahara Desert to out in the middle of the ocean. You got flooded. Well, supply and demand, when you go from scarcity to plentiful and then some, that's why in 2022 we saw those rates go crazy high. You're never going to see those again. I shouldn't say never. The likelihood is very low. We should hope that we never see that again, technically, because that is creating a very bad and economical situation, since really at the end of the day, we do as a federal government need to pay our debt. And they do that through the Treasury, right? And through sending out your 10-year Treasury, 5-year, 2-year, 1-year, creating that debt. And for them to recycle that, they need to pay that debt. Well, they have to keep the Fed rate up a little bit hard to do that. That is a very, very super simplistic kind of version of that. So don't expect rates to come back down, because I don't see it happening at all. Okay. I think we will dip into the fives, meaning the high fives, like 5.85, 5.75. But notice I just dip. That's temporary. Okay. Like you jumping into a really cold lake, that's a dip. You're back out again. All right. Same thing. So just keep that in mind. All right. So we come back here, then we actually will start taking a look at new construction, where we're starting to see a little bit of new plat repricing. New plat, you heard me say, new plat, where our list prices are up 12, let me blow that up for you. They're up $12,000 year over year as far as an increase in value. Although this week, we're still up considerably where we were at this time last year because we didn't have Marysville pricing, some of those plats that are coming in at far more competitive pricing that we're seeing in other areas. It's still $22,000 than what it was last week, $12,000 higher than it was last week as far as a average list price. Now, when we take a look at the actual sales price, hey, listen, from last month, December and January of this year, again, very similar months, you can see that our pendants are actually up, or our sold prices are actually at 15.1%. Now, again, a lot of that was because of December numbers and November numbers and all of the incentives being offered. Because remember, there's that lag. You got to have a 30-day close, 45-day close, depending on where the home is at in the completion process. And so there's a lot of delay when we talk about new construction that translates forward. Same thing, which what will happen with our pendant or our active as we start rolling through, which those numbers tend to be a little more dynamic. All right, so when we come back here, and then we actually take a look at sales volume, our volumes actually are, well, they've been kind of staying the same and very flat as far as sales volumes since about since about April of last year. And you might be saying, George, what the heck does that mean? Okay, so our listing inventory has been modest. We just happen to be down just a couple of homes, year to date. Pended again, December or solds, what we saw December sales is up 11.6%, but our pendants, they're down. They're down about 55 homes year to date. When we take a look at the actual January versus December, okay, so our solds are actually down by almost 29%, but yet for this month, which is dynamic, right? The pendants are actually up almost 20%. Okay, well, the difference that we take a look there when we look at December and January as competition to each other, we're starting to pick up that seasonal increase. As we hit February, March, it's definitely going to be a lot more effective. And a lot of these builders are anticipating a hotter spring market. They are anticipating that some of our numbers are going to be positive and that the feds are not going to reduce rate, which then should allow mortgage rates to start coming back down again, probably in the mid sixes. And when that happens, we start to see a lot more activity with buyers. We hit the 6% again like we did last September, which was at 6.02. That's when we saw sales just absolutely take off. Well, because they see the perception of value there. All right, moving on. So when we take a look at bank-owned, okay, again, bank-owned homes are not, you should consider them like just a regular seller. We don't have enough of them to say, hey, we're going to get a discount, because you're not, okay? Used to be, they would be, 15, 20% under market value compared to, a standard traditional seller. We don't have that here. We haven't had that here since 2010, 2011. Okay, so if you're living back then, that's fine, but you're going to stay back there. Everybody else is moving forward because they do paint, carpet, and vinyl. They get them sold at market value, and they get them sold. Yeah, okay, so their market times are itching up a little bit. Why? Because they've been truly pushing price, as they have to. They have to prove to the investor that they're doing the loan servicing for that really at the end of the day, we did get you best price. We didn't throw it out there and get a discounted price. All right, so let's blow this up. When we take a look at it, we take a look at our map here. Again, you can see all those little green dots, minus 6 of them, because those are not technically REOs or bank-owned homes. They're just mismarked home sellers. You can tell there's just not that many there. Okay, that's not a lot at all. There's more cities than dots. All right, I'm just saying. All right, let's move over to the metrics here. So when we take a look at it, it says, oh my gosh, George, pending sales are up 114%. That's 16 homes, and that's not unexpected. We had some price reductions from these banks, and they went into contract. Okay, no big deal. When we talk about 10% or 7% swing, it's 2 homes. When we take a look at what's more important when we talk about what kind of differentiates, look at that. So last year, we were at 99% list to sales price. Now we're at 94%, which tells me that banks are kind of going the wrong way. They're getting a little too aggressive in pricing, because you can see that that's a little bit of a price reduction. When we take a look at it in December, it was in 2024, we had 101%, right? And of course, now that's dropped down to 94%. Well, okay, not uncommon. Banks, again, have to push the price, because the investor needs to know that they did not leave any dollars on the table. So somebody just flashed a message in front of me, said, hey, when are the best times to put your home on the market if you're a seller, to follow through with that conversation? All right, so here we go. Tip number 1, don't overprice. Price is the first impression of any home out there. Just keep that in mind, okay? Super important. Tip number 2, buyers are super smart and will not overpay for a home. They just won't. They'll just sit on it. Interest rates are not low enough for them to say, I will pay too much for this house. Interest rates get down into the lower 6s, high 5s. That will change. All right, best times. End of February, middle to end of February, that's when our spring market starts to kick off. You want to take that, go on market no later than about April 30th. Why? If you figure 10 days of market time and close time, the most you want to push that envelope is probably the 3rd week in April. But understand, we head into what's called the vacation trifecta. Some of my friends are laughing if they're watching this, but also with students and everything else. So let me explain that really quick. So when we talk about why do we stop, why is it a good time from mid to end of February all the way to about April 15th if you're going to go on market? After that, well, you got Memorial Weekend, okay? And the week of, pretty much, they're brain dead. They are. So really, we notice a massive or a significant, a marketable difference at about May 15th. We see everything's just go, they slow down, okay? As you get to the week of Memorial Weekend, look, summer's here, spring is here, things are starting to happen. People are planning a vacation. They're going to go out. They've been locked up, and they're gone. And then immediately after that, kids are getting out of school. Okay, and even if you don't have kids, you're taking an adjustment. You're starting to do more things outside because it's getting warmer, it's getting nicer. You don't want to be cooped up in your house. And then poof, you got July 4th weekend. All right. Now, after the July 4th weekend, until about mid-August, you have another really good market right there, okay? What I would consider more the summer market. Why? Well, because people want to secure their home for the next season, for schools, whatever it is. It's a good time. Vacations are kind of past them. They've kind of had their summer fun. Now it's time to get down to business. And then all of a sudden, whoa, we got to stop. We have Labor Day weekend. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, fall snow's coming, got to take my last vacation. So again, after about mid to late August, that just absolutely falls off again until about October 1. From October until just before Turkey Day, will be typically our next up cycle as people secure it. Hey, I want a new home for the holidays, or hey, now's the time to start making that move, or okay, summer stuff is done, let's get out and get something done, right? Okay, so those are the best times to consider putting your home on the market. If you try and put them on, like I hear some folks over the holidays, hey, it's a 3-day weekend, let's put our house on the market. That's a great idea. Put your house on the market when everybody's leaving town. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Work around that. Understand the seasonality of it, and you will benefit by the number of showings because you need on average about 15 to 16 real buyers in your home looking at your home to trigger an offer on average. Okay. All right. I had one more question. I'll let you guys go. How many offers are we typically seeing on a home today? That's a really good question. Whoever asked that question, that's a good question. It's not like it used to be before, where we saw 13 to 20 offers on a house escalating, hundreds of thousands of dollars over. Not quite that bad, but anyway, we're not seeing that. In fact, we're seeing on the average, when we do see multiple offers, it's between 2 and 4 offers, typically is what we will see, and they will escalate anywhere from list price, sometimes as high as $50,000 over. Not many. A lot of them are within $10,000, $15,000, $20,000-ish on a escalation, depending on how it was priced. But on average, that's about what we see. So if you're thinking that as a seller, you're going to get, gobs of offers coming in and escalations going off the chart, bring yourself back down. Price yourself well. Okay. If you sell your home in the first 7 days, this is a proven statistic. I can show this time and time again. Your home sells in the first 7 days, you're going to get the most amount of money. You're going to get between 100, 107% of list price. That's money in your pocket. Okay. You miss that market and you go out to 20 days. Listen, you're only going to get 98, maybe 96% of list price. Okay. Plus the seller's giving concessions. All right. Now, if you miss that mark and you go out to 40 days, okay, that means you're going to look at 92, maybe 93% of list price, and you're definitely giving concessions on that. All right. So the shorter the timeline, the more dollars you're going to have in your pocket. In a limited inventory market where we only have a couple of months of inventory, listen, no home will sell for less than market value. I can prove that time and time again. No home will sell for less than market value. Buyers are just that smart. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, put them down below. Love to hear your questions like those two that just came in. If you want a private response or a video to explain something special, let us know. We do videos privately for that. We'll send that out to you guys. In the meantime, it is stunning outside. Very, very cold. It was 23 degrees this morning. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Like, subscribe, smash that subscribe button for me, actually. Have a beautiful day. Take care.